Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me on Fix It or Not. Another box to open from eBay. Received last week, I think I got this. It's been sitting behind me for a little while. Been caught up in fixing Game Boys, but let's take a look at this box, get it open, and see what we've got inside. It's actually a decent sized box considering it's a Walkman inside, so hopefully that's a good sign. So let's get this open and see what we've got to play with today. The title tells you that it's a Walkman. Not the earliest Walkman possible. Oh, well, there's a bonus. I didn't know it was coming with headphones. Are they Sony headphones? Looks quite nicely packaged. Good afternoon, Game Boy Guide. Nice to have you back. Something a bit different today, the Walkman. I'll have a look at those headphones in a minute. I'm pretty sure it didn't mention headphones in the auction. And there is one Sony Walkman. Let's take a look at these headphones as well. Don't know if they're Sony headphones. What we got? I think we've got a little bit of breakage going on there as well. Turbo. They are Sony headphones. I don't know. Sorry, I'm a little bit caught up in the headphones because I wasn't expecting the headphones, and I think the headphones are probably rarer than the Walkman. So let's have a look, see what's going on with these headphones before I jump into the Walkman over there. Let's untangle this cable. Got a few facts and figures regarding Walkman I'll go through shortly, but let's save that for a minute. Let's get into what we've got here. A Walkman. I wonder if that name was ever discussed. I wonder how quickly they came to the name Walkman when they were sitting around a table in Japan, Tokyo probably. That said, I suspect Sony head office. Oh no, I think Sony head office is in Tokyo actually. So what we've got going on here? They look very familiar, those headphones. I do seem to remember having Sony headphones that look like that once upon a time. So what have we got broken here? That bit looks like it fits on there. So I do think we have completage. I think they can be repaired. Need to find the right type of super glue to stick that plastic back together, because not all super glues are great with plastic. But we might be able to get those working. I'd be curious to see if they actually work. Let's not lose that bit of plastic. I'll have to check because so this Walkman, this particular Walkman I've got here, which is the WMBN39, is what I bought. I don't know if we can prove it's a WBN39. Is it written on it somewhere? Yeah, WM/B39. So come a bit closer. That was introduced in 1988, so this is about the same age as the original Game Boy. I mean, it's a bit scratched on the front there, but to be honest, considering how old it is, I don't think it's in bad condition at all. So I'm just having a listen. I think all I can hear is buttons rattling. I don't think there's any plastic inside broken, which is a good sign. It'll be interesting to see how this comes apart. I have had Walkmans apart a while ago, a long while ago, because I remember fixing a few of my own various portable music devices in the past. And how does that clip come off? Clip comes off, battery cover comes off. Nope. I'm thinking batteries and see if it does anything. These the right batteries? What way round do they go? That way, I think. Yeah, nothing. As it said, can't complain. That is what the description said. It also says no motors going around, so this is completely dead, this Walkman. Now, I haven't looked this up on the internet other than a few dates of when it was made. I've no idea how it comes apart, so we can learn together. It looks like just that back cover comes off with a couple of screws. So let's grab a screwdriver and take those screws out. Really tight, those screws. I think that's a good sign, actually, they're tight. Because it possibly means it's never been apart, but we'll find that out when we get inside. Is that all I need to take off to get this back off? I've got no hidden screws anywhere. Trying to be gentle because I think that might be clips around there. I do remember when I've had these Walkmans apart before, and I don't remember exactly what model I've had before. Let's grab a few gentle pry tools. I think that might be just clipped on that back. I don't want to go like a bull in a china shop. Now there. Looks like evidence that it may have been apart before. And there. Where shall we start? Yeah, I do like to start with my fingernails because I can feel how much tension there is. Not good for your fingernails. I have to stop wimping out here and actually go for it. I want something gentle. A plastic fingernail, a guitar pick. Oh, help if I was doing the right bit, wouldn't it? Let's start on this edge. this edge. Once I've got one edge moving, I shall know how it comes off. I think there's some clips in there. Doesn't want to let go. Doesn't want to come off that way. It's always our first challenge, getting these things apart. It doesn't seem to be helping at all, does it? There's no screw that I can see in the battery compartment unless it's underneath that label, and I think it's been apart before, so I don't think so. It doesn't want to give up. Any screws on the other side. Sometimes the door used to come off. Don't really want to take that stick off, but I can see signs that this has been opened before around the edge, and it's been pried open, or someone's at least tried. I suppose it's no one has succeeded. I may have to do a quick Google through and see if I can get a clue, because I really don't want to break it. Ah, okay, that appears to be. I'm going to grab a torch a minute. Very difficult to show you this. Inside there are some tabs with arrows pointing at them. Don't think there's one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. Right, what screwdriver shall I use for that? Right, let's pull a lot over here a minute. If we can see inside there. Got these tabs at the back, so let's see if we can get them. I've got a longer, something a bit longer to push those with. Although I can see them, they don't move much. Looks like it's putting it in there. in the direction of the arrow. What does that mean? Move the latch in the direction of the arrow and pull the cassette holder assembly in the direction of the arrow. Ah, there's two arrows. That way. Move the latch in the direction of the arrow. That's that way. Aha! Right, that's step one. Tiny little ribbon cable there. Right, remove P2 times 10. That should come off now. I suppose this isn't complicated if you know where it goes together. Right. That was a long time to get to that step, wasn't it? Where's my old screwdriver gone? So if I ever say I want to fix a Walkman again, remind me of this this time, eh? I think. Can't see, but it's slowly coming off behind there. Am I missing one? Huh. Well, okay, took a while, but we've got that off intact, so it can go back intact. It's just fiddly. I just had to get them all off up in order and sort of put my fingers in it while I took it out. It doesn't say that in the instructions. Anyway, that was a nuisance. Let's I'll put my mouse over here. Right, now we can see what's going on. We can also look at taking that ribbon cable off. Might look at the manual on that. So where does the power come in on here? 3 volts in on there. Right, let's move some bits out of the way. Far too many tools on here. Let's give myself some space. Definitely got a broken belt. That was to be expected. Seems to be gummed up in all the mechanism. I wouldn't have just normally yanked that off, but I do have the manual now, so hopefully the manual will tell me which way the belt goes on again. See these screws holding that in place. Clip there. And a clip there. There's got to be a screw somewhere holding this together, isn't it? Are we close enough, or would you like to get a bit closer to what I'm looking at now? Just grease on there. Right, I think what I'm going to do, you'd like to be closer, would you? Right, let's just swap the lens over. There we go, a bit closer. So I've just pulled a belt off, which anybody that watches Techmoan on YouTube will be quite used to seeing belts inside tape machines. In fact, I knew I was going to have issues with belts. I bought some. In fact, I should have another packet somewhere. No idea how long it needs to be. Let's have a quick look at that manual. See how that circuit board comes off. AU board and mecha deck says move the connector housing W301 in the direction of the arrow. do like their arrows. Yeah, I think I might not go batteries in, I might go power supply on with some clips. I've got 3 volts set up somewhere. Just setting the power supply to 3 volts. So what did we have on there? What was positive and what was negative? Positive and negative. Actually give me an idea if we get any current when I plug this in, because now we've got spinach. Something's trying to spin. So it's not completely dead, it was just gummed up with belt. I think it's showing me it pushes this way. Yeah. There we go. God, I'm being so cautious. I really do want to get this working. We've got a clip there. How many clips we got? 1, 2. Just 2 clips. Did we see that? That came out of there. Somehow. I think these arrows, Sony like their arrows. These are telling me something. I think what they're telling me is that this is clipped in. Knob came off. Right, what else we got? Here. Battery board comes off. I think if this is just changing the belt, I don't think I need to take it apart any more than that, because I think I can get to where I need to put the belt. If that is the motor there, which it looks like it is, that was the bit that was spinning just now, I think. And take this ribbon cable off as well. Don't want to come off that one. So let's see if this has got power going into it, shall we? I know we had noise earlier. Yeah, stuff it back in the case and run. I'm just trying to get a better camera angle because it was focused on the top. Right. Hate these crocodile clips. Let's check we've got power. 3 volts from the power supply. Three volts in there. But not there. So how can that be getting in there? But not there. It's weird. Do have 3 volts there. Stopped spinning since I took that board out, hasn't it? So something else is going on here. We've got power going in, we don't have any shorts. Got these little switches. I think they are what tells it to go on and off. So let's try and drop that back in where it came from. Let's take this out again. Let's see if I can show you. As we push this in, this little lever moves. And that little lever touches this switch. There's a little tiny switch there. And I think that switch isn't quite making. So, maybe some contact cleaner, maybe a little bend over, little bend, this switch isn't making. So if I, even without the cassette, the play button pressed, can we make this come on just by operating that switch? Yeah. You can't, can you hear that motor going round? So I think it's that switch and a belt is my diagnosis. I mean, over all the years, I mean, I've not even started talking about the just grabbed me a bit of paper and made some notes earlier. So Sony Walkman, introduced in 1979. This particular model was introduced in 1988. So it's the same sort of age as the Game Boy that I was working on the other day. So this is 9 years evolution, or cheapening, as sometimes happens. But it doesn't look like it's cheaply made inside. Surface mounts. Maybe they just made everything smaller. It says 88 on the belt drive. So that ties in nicely with what the internet said about this being out in 1988. So the Walkman had a lifespan from 1979, and 2012 was the last time they made a Sony tape Walkman. So that's 33 years. In that time they sold 400 million of these things, which I tried to get some sort of perspective on that, and the only perspective I could really get on that in comparable perspective was an iPod. So the iPods came out in 2001, and the last iPods, music iPods, sold in 2022. So that was 21 years. They sold 450 million iPods. So 50 million more with just under 10 years less. But I still think 400 million. Did you think? I know the Sony Walkman was massive, and it tends to get overshadowed by things that came later. But I think 400 million, and that's just Sony Walkmans. Let's bear in mind that at the time there were a lot of other people jumped on the bandwagon of making Walkman type devices. So I should imagine if you added up together every single one that was ever made, it probably outsold the iPod. But then there was other MP3 players, let's say, out there. But I think that's comparable. I mean, they introduced the portable music, didn't they? And that was the invention, and the iPod was the evolution. What I might do is just give those contacts a bit of a clean in there. I think it's funny doing this. I watch loads of people doing car videos, and one of the first things they do is get a bit of paper out and clean the points. Looks like the weakness of everything is contacts. Oh, it's obvious, really, isn't it? So that's how the internet shows the belt. This isn't quite the, it's not quite the same cassette deck that I found a picture of, but it's near enough that that looks like how you fit it. Right. Sure, yeah. See if this goes back together. It's not in the manual. It just shows me a load of exploded views. I need to be able to share these manuals going forward if I'm going to use manuals to fix them. But it shows me an exploded view, and sort of now I know how it goes. Maybe I could have worked it out, but not as good as the picture I just found on the internet. So let's see if I can show you what I mean. Ha ha. That's better. For Gord's sake. Got to solder that wire back on now. You can just tell when things haven't gone back together properly. Don't know whether this had all its buttons to start with. If it did, I've dropped it somewhere. I only see one button fall out when I took it apart. So that one's the metal and chrome. Is that the same? Yeah. So I'm going to need to have a look back to see. What's the most useful? Dolby on or off? Can't remember what my cassette was. I think my cassette. My good cassette. Let's have a look. Was that a chrome cassette? Yeah. Imagine we can. Force that to be on chrome. Let's repair what I broke. Mucking about with it. Where's me test cassette? Let's pop this one in. Appears to be playing. And auto reverse it. Do have music playing. Can't hear anything. Well, that bit all looks like it's working well, doesn't it? Volume. Where's my volume control? So if I turn the volume up, all I can hear is nothing really. Let's pop us back to autofocus. It's a shame it's so hard to get to that ribbon cable. Got to release. There's a way of I can play that while I'm manipulating that ribbon cable. Make it play now because I've got to push that in. But you can see that ribbon cable. Let's get the audio roughly in the middle. Well, moving that ribbon cable about isn't helping. Still getting no audio. I think I need to investigate the other end. Let's put these headphones off. Can't flip that over with everything connected, which is a shame. think what I'd like to do is to meter out the that ribbon cable, but I don't know if I can get to the back of that. Let's get my glasses off. And give those a push. I can see various clips. I think this might just clip into place, you know. And we are really being forced to pull this thing apart, aren't we? Being delicate again. It feels like it wants to be free. Something over this corner holding it. So another clip. You can come off a minute. We'll put you back again. We know where you go now. It's just catching on the bottom plastic. Just there. That's it. It does come out. And then that little bar comes off. So we can have a look behind the head and just off. Right. Let's get in there and have a look. So that just solders onto that. Look at that. Test points. I'm very impressed. So I can just meter that out. Doesn't look damaged in any way. I mean, the law of physics would say if that head's working, and I know the tape's working because I've tested it, we should get something out of it. So let's curious how that bit is all wrapped around on itself. Wonder why it does that. I wonder now the mechanism's out. We can see how this works. Look, the head plunges in, and two pinch rollers on auto reverse. Pinch the tape and feed the tape over the head, which looks fine. Let's get this meter out. Well, we put it over here. Put it on continuity setting. Let's give ourselves some space. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got resistance there. So that's a coil, I think. We're either going to get resistance or a short. That's a short. One side of this should be common. I suppose the other problem could be audio amplifier. Nothing. That all looks fine to me. Don't see any issues with any of that at all. So anyway, that's one thing ticked off. I think that ribbon cable is fine. Let's pop this over here. I think what I might have to do is get the oscilloscope out. Oh, I can't share the oscilloscope screen, unfortunately. Direction button. Mode. How did that direction button go in there? Didn't come out with the rest of the cassette deck. Like that. So we can slide this back in. You know it's tight down in that bottom corner. Oh, let's put that bit back first, shall we? Nearly forgot. It did briefly make some noise when I tested it before. The first time I've connected that external PSU the wrong polarity was today, so I'm not sure that would have popped anything, but it might have done. Most of these things tend to be diode protected. We can have a look on the circuit diagram, see if it's got a reverse polarity diode. I'd be shocked if Sony didn't include that in their design, just to cover us people in the future plugging a power supply in the wrong way around. Sony are good like that. That's that back together. That's the tight bit down there. Bonkers actually, that this goes in here lovely, apart from that one little place where that bit of plastic sticks out. But there's a knack to this. That's it. Get that in end first, and then clipped back. Wind up over there. That's better. Can we run this with the door off? Can we run it with the door off? Let's work out what way that ribbon cable goes. That ribbon cable goes in there, like that. I've been worried about the other one, and it's this one that's not making proper connection. As I said, the audio goes through there. Can't see anything wrong with those joints. Put a bit of flux on there. Just rerun those joints properly. Right, if there were any bad joints there, they're not bad anymore. I think the weakness in all these things comes down to the connectors and the joints. Give that a clean. They feel tight in there. So, it hurts to spend some time on these connectors because it's where the weak point is. I'd say this is the weak point of the whole assembly. Just lifting those pins up like I did on the other one. That ribbon cable is clean. There's my brush. There's my brush. I was discussing this on a previous video. This is an edge connector cleaner bristle that you slowly wear away, and that's designed for cleaning edge connectors. It's probably hard to see on camera, but it's now much shinier than it was. So that actually does a good job. Wasn't even that expensive, but worth it when you're doing lots of edge connectors. Sorry, my big hands are in the way. See how loose that looks in there? Oh, you can't. What can I move that around with that's not going to break anything? That clamp is supposed to hold that ribbon cable tight, and it doesn't. I haven't looked for new sockets. I think I'd like to prove that it is that. Or maybe I just don't understand how these connectors work. That's loose. Oh, it's still loose. That's tight. I think I've been doing these connectors wrong. Well, tight from the point of view it doesn't pull out. Do I need to go back and look at the other one again? With it in that position, it just pulls out. I did try playing the tape and wiggling the other end. So yeah, I do agree. If I just, you'd think you'd hear it if you was wiggling it. I'm just going to check this end, because I think I've been doing that wrong. There's another lesson learned. Yeah. Look at this one again. Pull that all the way back. Not that far back, maybe. Let's pull that bit. Let's pull that off. Sorry, I was mumbling again. Too used to talking to myself. Because obviously you can hear yourself when you're mumbling to yourself. Slightly bizarre actually, because I think with that forward, that pushes in like that. And now that isn't wiggling. So I've been putting those in the wrong way around, assuming that they were clamped when they were unclamped, which I don't think would have helped the situation. So have I led myself astray here? Back in. Back in. This one back in. Choose the tweezers. Seems a little bit illogical that you can't actually see the thing you're plugging it into. Maybe we need to see it a little bit. Get out of the way, cable. That goes all the way to the back there. Right, power. Where do we put the power in here? On the other side, I bet. The volume control turns things up and down. What test points are we on here? Left channel, right channel. Turning that off made a difference. Need to investigate that headphone socket, I think. Can actually see that tone control doing something to the waveform as well. Definitely getting a beat on that. Don't have a camera I can show you it. Turn the power on. Have a look. See if we can power this up. Stay on there, clip. Right, I want to see if we get any audio to the headphone socket. And there's various test points on here. Dolby left and right out. What else have we got down here? Various switches. Is that a test point there? Switch feels a bit loose, doesn't it? Trouble is, this switch doesn't come through to the other side. Out, left and right down here, look. Get nothing showing up on there. Little peg on there just to hold that closed. Press the auto on the scope. Auto setup. Is that audio I'm seeing? Not obvious that's audio. So let's see if it stops. It does stop. Can't share the scope with you guys, but so what are we getting out on there? Measure. Statistics on. We had a track stop. I dropped off. I think we're getting audio out of there. We get nothing when I stop it. When I start it, and that's ground maybe. Taking a little while for the scope to catch up. I think I want to be able to hear that. Pop some headphones on again. Okay, I didn't actually have the play running then. Didn't have play engaged. Seems to be playing backwards. We're getting audio out of here now. I need another close peg. Because it's playing backwards. It's also very quiet. I wonder if these headphones are too high impedance, which is why it's really quiet. Definitely have more audio. We've got quite a lot of wow and flutter. Wow and flutter. Right. Let's stop this. This is so fiddly. Let's change those headphones for these headphones, which are more designed for it. They're a bit broken. They work though. It's playing. There's a lot of wow and flutter. I have a little trim wheel over here. So you should be able to calibrate that. So what's causing all that wow and flutter? Just to show you we're getting something out of there. Very wow and fluttery, very wow and fluttery. Also very quiet. And some buzz. Dolby off. So I need to have a think about this. It's playing. Fast forward, reverse. The tone controls on the front and the bass boost I don't think are working properly, and I think that's what's causing the problem with the audio out. It's getting through that stage quite clearly, but we don't have very good audio. It's not very loud, but if an amplifier had gone, I don't think you'd get anything. The wow and flutter I think we can do something with, because we can change the band, the belt. The belt might be too loose or too tight. Might try a smaller one on there in a minute, see if a tighter belt helps, because that could be slipping. It's not the tightest belt, but the quiet audio and the fact that that bit on the front's not working is going to require me digging into the circuit diagram, I think, a bit deeper and doing a little bit more of a trace. So another step forward, but let me have a dig, and I'll be back very shortly to see if we can progress this, get it back together, and get it playing properly, and maybe look at fixing these headphones, because they do work. So it's time to talk about the Walkman and where we're at with it. It's another day. I spent last night looking at this up, looking at the issues with these Walkmans to work out what's going on. We've taken this Walkman from being a non-worker to now being a worker. It works, it plays tapes. It just plays tapes very badly. There's a lot of wow and flutter. The audio is low, it's distorted, there's a lot of feedback, and I couldn't work out why, to be honest with you. But now I've looked into it, it's probably quite obvious, and a lot of you out there that have got any experience at all with these Walkmans or other audio devices are going to be shouting at their screens now. But I'll discuss what's wrong with this and is it worth fixing. First off, it's the belt. Let's come down here and have a look. First off, we've got the problem here with, I've replaced this with just a generic belt, and these Walkmans are very, very fussy with the type of belts they need. They should be thinner than this belt, and potentially this belt could be too tight, too loose. I've had to guess what size belt it had on it because the original belt had fallen apart. This belt proves the point that it works, it plays, but the wow and flutter is awful, and that is predominantly down to having the wrong belt. So you can buy replica belts. Everywhere says, any reputable place will warn you that the replica belts are never going to be as good as the original Sony's, so potentially it's never going to play as well as it did when it was new. The other issue we've got with this is the low audio and the poor audio quality, and that is pretty much down to the capacitors. I'm the sort of person that sees people changing capacitors things in all the time, and if they're not broken, don't fix them. But these Walkman are actually one of the devices that started off the issues with capacitors. These were not good capacitors when these were built, and they do wear out over time. They leak, they fade, they fail. It's all these electrolytics, these ones, these aluminium electrolytics. They potentially all got issues, because every single one of these Walkmans of this age do. So to get this back working anywhere close to what it should be working, I would need to change all these capacitors. And this is now getting to the point where this Walkman is really beyond economic repair. It's a shame. I do want to get this working. I do want to hear it working as well as I can make it. And to that ends, I'm going to think about it. But for now, I'm going to put this one as a no fix, because it's economically not worth getting it back to working as well as it could. It works, it runs. It didn't when I got it. I've taken it as far as I can take it economically. I'm going to put it on the shelf to one side. If I get another project where I may need to buy some capacitors in, they're fairly common components or fairly common values, I might consider recapping this at some point. There are not a lot of them. It won't take that long to do. It might make an interesting video just recapping this, but from a financial perspective, it's just not worth it. So I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to put this back together, put it in a box, put it on the shelf somewhere, and think about it. It might go back on eBay as it is. Somebody else might want to spend some money on it, recapping it if they've got the capacitors already, because it's something they do a lot of. There are people out there that do restore these back to good condition. And if you buy these capacitors in bulk, it certainly doesn't cost that much. But if I go out and buy ones and twosies of these, you're potentially looking at £20 worth of capacitors. The belt itself, I've got a website that sells them. We'll have a look at the website in a minute because it talks about the capacitor issues as well. And to buy that belt shipped to me is going to cost me a tenner as well. So we're looking at potentially another 30 quid to spend on this to get it up and working. And with what I've already spent on it, that's past the price that they sell for working in good condition. So like I said, beyond economic values are fixed. So I'm going to put this to one side. But that's it. I'm going to wish you all a goodbye on this one. And please join me on the next one where, fingers crossed, we have a bit of luck getting it working and ready for sale on eBay. So take care, everybody. See you soon.